Hello and welcome to Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Let us begin the bulletin with the headlines. Brics nations call for tackling terrorism and early adoption of global convention by UN to fight menace in Goa declaration. Prime Minister Modi calls Pakistan the mothership of terror. Two ceasefire violations by Pakistan on Sunday along line of control in Rajouri, Jammu and Kashmir. One Jawan killed. India and Hungary pitch for setting up strong global legal framework to eliminate the terror. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari stresses on sustained international action. Military push to recapture Iraqi city of Mosul from the Islamic State begins. Experts say winning city could mark effective defeat of terror group from the country. UN warns of enormous humanitarian impact. And India defeat New Zealand by 6 wickets in first ODI in Dharamshala, take a 1-0 lead in the 5-match series. Our top story this morning, the Brics summit in Goa ended with an ambitious Goa declaration to curb the terror financing and banning arms supply to terrorists. Now addressing the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi continued India's efforts to diplomatically isolate Pakistan, calling it the mothership of terrorism. However, a consensus to include Jaish-e-Mohammed in the declaration could not be reached.
The Brics summit on Sunday took place in 3 sessions. As host and chair of the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi used the platform to attack Pakistan as a mothership of global terrorism. He said one country in India's neighborhood is blocking development all over the world. While addressing the Brics and BIMSTEC summits, the Prime Minister said terrorism is Pakistan's favorite child.
In South Asia and BIMSTEC, all nation states barring one are motivated to pursue a path of peace, development and economic prosperity for its people. Unfortunately, this country in India's neighborhood embraces and radiates the darkness of terrorism. Terrorism has become its favorite child, and the child in turn has come to define the essential character and nature of its parent.
Earlier at the plenary meeting of leaders from the Brics bloc, the Prime Minister escalated his diplomatic drive to isolate Pakistan. The Prime Minister also appeared to be sending out a message to the Chinese president.
Our response to terrorism must, therefore, be nothing less than comprehensive. And we need to act both individually and collectively. Selective approaches to terrorists, individuals and organizations will not only be futile but also counterproductive.
地缘政治因素错综复杂，传统和非传统安全风险相互交织，恐怖主义、传染性疾病。
Russian President Vladimir Putin underlined the convergence among Brics on this issue.
Позиции по актуальным глобальным и региональным проблемам. Выступают за решительные действия по борьбе с терроризмом, за совместное противодействие другим острым вызовам и угрозам современности. Мы убеждены, что урегулирование международных
The 5-nation powerful grouping adopted the Goa Declaration, asking all countries to prevent terrorist actions from their territories and called for expeditious adoption of an India-backed Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism or CCIT in the UN General Assembly. However, a top Indian diplomat said that a consensus on including UN-proscribed terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed could not be arrived at in the declaration as other nations in the bloc are not affected by the Pakistan-based terrorism. Akhilesh Suman's report from Goa for Rajya Sabha TV.
Thank you, Excellencies.
And Brics leaders also laid emphasis on intra-Brics commerce during the summit. Well, the new development bank announced that it plans to more than double its commitment to support infrastructure projects in 2017.
3 agreements were signed at the end of the Brics summit in presence of member leaders. Leaders from Brics nations called for strengthening intra-Brics cooperation. They also agreed on the Goa Action Plan on 24 issues.
We count on the Brics Business Council to work with us to achieve our common aim of strengthening mutual trade, enhancing business opportunities, building investment linkages, promoting innovation, and removing bottlenecks to intra-Brics commerce.
Chinese President Xi Jinping said that even though the 2008 credit crisis and a treacherous recovery of global economy has impacted growth among the Brics countries, the potential and the inherent strength of the five-nation grouping of emerging economies continues to be unchanged.
中方愿同各方继续努力，支持新开发银行开展工作，推动首批项目早见成效。
Russia also called for the need to work closely to create conditions for new business projects.
И приглашает предпринимательские круги всех стран БРИКС работать на нашем рынке, развивать партнерские связи с российскими компаниями. Мы, конечно, будем и далее всячески поддерживать деятельность делового совета.
The new development bank formed by the Brics nations last year plans to more than double its commitment to support infrastructure projects to the tune of $2.5 billion in 2017.
Looking forward, we are targeting incremental lending of around US dollars 2.5 billion over the next year, and we believe that this would be largely in the area of sustainable infrastructure, green infrastructure, and we plan to raise about US dollars 1.5 billion through bonds. We believe that providing local currency financing for projects minimizes the currency risk and reduces the effective cost for our member countries.
However, despite India's push for efforts to get a Brics credit rating agency set up at the summit as a counter to Western rating institutions, a lack of consensus scuttled it.
In the end, Brics Goa Declaration recognizes the sensitivity and aspirations of all the member nations. It mentions South Africa, India and Brazil as potential permanent member of United Nations Security Council. It shows convergence of ideas in the international order. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person Sivi Sudarshan in Goa.
Well, on the concluding day of the 8th BRICS summit in Goa, India also pledged to revive BIMSTEC nations to forge a new partnership. The call for revival assumes significance after the collapse of the recent SAARC summit, after 4 nations pulled out, including India, to be the meet which was hosted by Pakistan over the issue of cross-border terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calling for framing stronger ties within the BRICS and BIMSTEC countries for growth, development, commerce and technology.
The areas of commerce, connectivity, culture, security and disaster management appear promising in identifying collaborative possibilities. Economy and commerce can unlock new drivers of growth and benefit. BIMSTEC countries' economic emergence fits well with the BRICS countries' own experiences.
Leaders of the BRICS BIMSTEC countries unanimously condemned terrorism and supported India's calls for intensified joint efforts to combat the menace.
We must be united in standing together against all forms and manifestations of violent extremism relating to religious, cultural and social intolerance. At this point, I would like to mention that we sympathize wholly with the people of India with regard to the terrorist acts that took place in Uri not so long ago.
Chinese President Xi Jinping said that BIMSTEC countries are China's good friends and partners and have maintained long-lasting friendship and close cooperation with China. Xi Jinping also said that China is ready to make joint efforts with all parties to lift the dialogues and cooperation between BRICS members.
陛下逝世，表示深切哀悼， 向泰国政府和人民表示诚挚慰问。普密蓬陛下是中泰友好的主要推动者。
Vladimir Putin called for peaceful nuclear energy with Bangladesh and oil and gas cooperation with Thailand. Prime Minister Modi also held meetings with Nepal Prime Minister Prachand and Bangladeshi Premier Sheikh Hasina and discussed important bilateral and regional issues with them. He also met Bhutanese Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay on the sidelines of the Brics BIMSTEC Outreach Summit. This is Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Well, on to some other news. India and Hungary on Sunday pitched for setting up a strong global legal framework and sustained international action to eliminate the scourge of terrorism. Now, Vice President Mohammed Hamid Ansari reiterated India's position of creating a strong global legal framework to eliminate terrorism. Now, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban also supported India's position by promising support on the global fora. Now, both the nations have also agreed to set up a working group on technological development, besides signing 2 MOUs. India and Hungary on Sunday pitched for setting up a strong global legal framework and sustained international action to eliminate the scourge of terrorism. Vice President Mohammed Hamid Ansari also expressed India's appreciation for the support extended by Hungary to India's membership of the Missile Technology Control Regime and for entry into the nuclear suppliers group.
There has been a meeting of minds between our two sides, and the scourge of terrorism needs to be eliminated, and that the need of strong global legal framework and concerted action by all in dealing with this threat.
The two nations signed an MOU on cooperation in the field of water management in the Hungarian Parliament complex. The agreement will enable India to utilize Hungarian technological expertise in major river cleaning projects in India.
The two countries have today signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of water management and another MOU between the Indian Council of World Affairs and the Institute of Foreign Affairs and Trade of Hungary.
Speaking on the occasion, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban pointed out the warm ties India and Hungary shared since 1956 revolution. He said that as the world faces both opportunity and threat, Hungary backs India's philosophy of peaceful development.
I'm convinced that if this peaceful development of the Indian philosophy will prevail, then the current transformations of politics and economy in the world will undergo a peaceful development.
As India remains the largest greenfield investor in Hungary, the visit is set to boost the cooperation further, especially in the field of defence, innovation and agriculture. Hungary also showed keen interest in collaborating with Indian film industry. A delegation will soon come to India to discuss future modalities.
The achievements of Hungarian innovation to work on common projects to exploit these. So we agreed to set up a working group on technology which would have the mission to investigate and to try to reconcile the existing Hungarian and Indian capacities in this field.
Vice President Ansari will leave on the second leg of his two-nation visit to Algeria today. With Chetan Datta, this is Sandeep Yash's report for Rajya Sabha TV. News from Jammu and Kashmir, where an army Jawan has been killed after Pakistan troops violated ceasefire twice on Sunday along the line of control. Well, the ceasefire violations took place in the Rajouri district of Jammu and Kashmir. Sepoy Sudesh Kumar from Sambal district of Uttar Pradesh was killed when the Pakistani army started indiscriminate and unprovoked firing on the Indian army posts along the line of control. Earlier in the morning on Sunday as well, there was unprovoked firing by Pakistani troops who used small arms to target Indian forward areas in Nowshera sector of the same district along the line of control. Now, a senior army officer said that there have been over 25 ceasefire violations along the line of control since the surgical strikes by Indian army in POK on 29th of September to dismantle terror launch pads. Well, time to take a very short break here. Up next, we have all the international and sports news. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire. stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Life after death was a cardinal belief in the Harappan civilization. Reflecting this is the skeleton of a middle-aged woman with gold bangles. Excavated from Rakhigadi in Haryana, it's an example of the burial practices in those times. Much like the Egyptian mummies, vessels, eatables, ornaments were kept near the dead body, in the hope that they would be of use to the person in the next world.
Welcome back after the break. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that personal laws should be constitutionally compliant and in conformity with the norms of gender equality and the right to live with dignity. Now, in a social media post titled Triple Talaq and the Government's Affidavit, Jaitley said that there is a fundamental distinction between religious practices, rituals and civil rights. He also said that the constitutional validity of triple talaq is distinct from the Uniform Civil Code, and the issue before the Supreme Court is only with regard to the constitutional validity of triple talaq. The Finance Minister said that the governments in the post have shielded from taking any categorical stand on the issue, but the present one has taken a clear position on the issue. News from Uttar Pradesh now, where the state government there suspended additional district magistrate and the city magistrate of Varanasi on Sunday over Saturday's stampede incident in which 25 people, including 20 women, lost their lives. The Akhilesh Yadav government suspended the police in charges of the area, including SP City. Now, the incident took place near the Rajghat bridge between Varanasi and Chandoli after thousands of people paid tribute to spiritual leader Jai Gurudev on the banks of River Ganga. Now, more than 60 people are also reported to be injured. Well, let's get you some international news. Now, a military operation to recapture the Iraqi city of Mosul from the Islamic State has begun. The assault from Kurdish Peshmerga, Iraqi government and the allied forces is backed by the US-led coalition. Now, Iraq's second largest city has been under Islamic State control since the last 2 years. And experts say that its loss would mark the effective defeat of Islamic State in the entire country. However, the United Nations has warned that the humanitarian impact of the battle could be enormous and could affect up to 1.2 million people there.
عزيز يا أبناء محافظة نينوى الأحبة لقد دقت ساعة الانتصار وابتدأت عمليات تحرير الموصل. أعلن اليوم ابتداء هذه العمليات البطلة.
After 2 years of being under the control of Islamic State, a long-awaited offensive to seize back the Iraqi city of Mosul has begun. The Prime Minister says it is victory time, and thousands of leaflets have been dropped, warning that the offensive was imminent. The Iraqi forces have taken their final positions. They will be joined by Kurdish Peshmerga soldiers on the ground. US, British and French special forces will also play an advisory role and assist with the airstrikes. Islamic State in Mosul is now completely surrounded by a 30,000 strong force.
التجهيزات كلها جايه والافواج كلها جايه ونبشر اهلنا للموصل اخواننا اهل الموصل ان شاء الله نخلصهم من الدواعش وان شاء الله كما خلصنا الانبار اهالي الانبار من الدواعش الموصل هماتين ان شاء الله تتحرر باقرب وقت.
Ahead of the final push, skirmishes have flared outside Iraqi's second largest city with an airstrike on one of its main bridges on Sunday. The destruction of the bridge could hinder Islamic State fighters trying to flee the city. IS also launched suicide attacks more than 200 miles south in Baghdad. Residents of Mosul have been told to flee and camps are being set up to accommodate the refugees. United Nations says the battle for the city could result in a humanitarian crisis.
The UN estimates that in a worst-case scenario, Mosul could represent the single largest, most complex humanitarian operation in the world in 2016. There are a number of reasons why it's so complex. The sheer scope of the expected operation. In a worst-case scenario, there could be 1.2 to 1.5 million civilians inside of the city who could be impacted.
The fight is expected to last weeks, if not months. And if the battle to wrest Fallujah and Ramadi from the grip of Islamic State are any indication, Mosul is predicted to be a protracted and difficult affair. Defeating Islamic State here would represent a major victory for the Abadi government as it looks to end the terrorist group's territorial dominance in Iraq's oil-rich north. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Now, in a step closer to establish its permanent space station by 2022, China launched a spacecraft carrying 2 astronauts in its longest ever manned space mission. Now, 2 Chinese astronauts were blasted off into space by Shenzhou 11 from a satellite launch center near the Gobi Desert in northern China. The Shenzhou 11 spaceship will return to Earth within a day after docking the 2 astronauts on Tiangong 2 Space Lab and separating it from the space. Now, the space mission would join its second experimental space lab orbiting the Earth. China conducted its first manned space mission in 2003 and also now plans to launch its maiden Mars mission in 2020. Staying with Asia, the coronation of Thailand's next monarch is likely to be many months away. Now, this after the ruling military said that the crown prince and heir apparent would be installed only after the funeral of the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej. Now, the royal succession had been expected to be immediate when the king died after a long illness on Thursday. But Crown Prince Vajiralongkorn asked not to be immediately declared king, saying that he wanted to grieve along with the country. Now, former Prime Minister Prem Tinsulanonda is standing in as the regent. Now, current Prime Minister Pradyut Chan-o-cha also sought to reassure Thais about a succession in a television address on Saturday, saying that they should not worry. Thailand is beginning a year of official mourning, and entertainment shows like TV shows, sports events have been cancelled or toned down. Many Thais are wearing black, and mourners have continued to converge on the Grand Palace in central Bangkok to pay their last respects to their late king. It is unclear when his cremation will take place, but it is not expected until the official one-year mourning period is over.
ทุกคนควรใช้เวลานี้รักษาความทรงจำอันงดงามของเหตุการณ์70 ปีที่ผ่านมาเมื่อการบำเพ็ญพระราชกุศลและพระราชพิธีพระบรมศพผ่านพ้นไปแล้วระยะหนึ่งก็น่าจะถึงเวลาสมควรดำเนินการต่อไปได้
On to some cricket news. Well, after sweeping the Test series against New Zealand 3-0, India carried out their dominance over Kiwis in the first one-day international in Dharamshala as well on Sunday by defeating the Kiwis by 6 wickets. Now, chasing a victory target of 191, India scored 194 for 4 in 33.1 overs. Virat Kohli remained unbeaten with 85, which was his 32nd 50-plus score, while chasing a day-night ODI from just 70 innings. Earlier, India chose to field after winning the toss. Indian bowlers claimed 7 New Zealand wickets with the visitors' scorecard reading just 65. Now, Tom Latham, who remained unbeaten with 79, fought the battle against the bowlers with TG Saudi to bring the visitors' score to 190 all out in 43.5 overs. For India, Hardik Pandya, who made his ODI debut, and Amit Mishra claimed 3 wickets each. Umesh Yadav and KM Jadhav equally shared the remaining 4 wickets. With this win, India takes a 1-0 lead over New Zealand in the 5-match series.
Looking at Champions Trophy in mind, England is where bowlers will get a bit of a swing, and if you can hit the right areas with pace, you can obviously create trouble for the batsman. So I feel it's an opportunity for all the fast bowlers, not only him, but it's good to see Indian bowlers who can bowl quick.
Okay. Unfortunately, we couldn't put a big enough total on the board to, to bowl to. I think we managed to scrap to 190. But unfortunately, we couldn't, put the ball in the right area for long enough and get those early wickets.
Let's get you some more sporting action in Sports Beat. Indian shuttler Saurabh Verma clinched the men's singles title at the Chinese Taipei Open, defeating Malaysia's Darren Liu. Saurabh rallied to grab the first two games at 12-10 and 12-10 and emerged victorious after his opponent Liu retired at 3-all owing to a problematic shoulder. Defending champion Ajay Jairam failed to clinch his third successive Dutch Open title as he lost to Chinese Taipei's Su Wai Wang 10-21, 21-17, 18-21 in the final on Sunday. The top-seeded Indian shuttler, who had beaten Zul in their previous two meetings, lost out to him in the tournament's final, which lasted just 55 minutes. Indian boxer Neeraj Goyat has retained his welterweight Asia title by outpunching Australian Ben Kite in the national capital. The fight was organised by the Professional Boxing Organisation of India. Goyat prevailed via unanimous decision in the grueling 12-round contest against Kite, who came in with an experience of fighting 9 bouts. With this win, Neeraj has become the first Indian boxer to defend a pro title. And Britain's Andy Murray won the Shanghai Masters to claim his 5th title of 2016. Murray defeated Spain's Roberto Bautista Agut 7-6, 6-1. He won the China Open a week ago. Besides winning the men's singles event at the Rio Olympic Games and Wimbledon also earlier this year, he is now 915 points behind top-ranked Novak Djokovic in the ATP rankings. Well, that's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha TV. Thanks for watching.